Hi mods. Hi mods. Hi. I love you guys. Hi chat. Hi. Um Hi chat. I wanted to talk to you guys about something today. Um I apologize cuz it'll probably be a bit hard.
Less than 3.
Um I won't have the chat on the screen because I can't read it right now. I also turned off all the alerts so I could talk. I'm sorry. I didn't think I would cry. Um Funny enough, I wrote it down because I didn't think I thought I wouldn't have anything to say. I thought I'd freeze up when I went live, which I kind of have, but I didn't think I'd cry. I wrote down what I want to say on stream today. I hope that's okay. Because I get really anxious when talking about important things. And I don't want to miss say anything. And I want to make sure that I'm saying everything I want to. And in order to do that, I wrote it down last night. Because I knew I would be like this. Um, and I knew I wouldn't be able to talk properly. So, I probably won't. I again apologize. I probably won't look up during the stream. I'll be reading on my phone. But I wanted to read this instead of tweet it because I wanted it to come from me, and I want you guys to hear it from me. It's really hard for me to talk about, but I feel like it's important for other people to hear it. I'm sorry, I'm scared. Okay. I'm gonna start reading. Shit, I look a fucking mess. Um, okay. I want to start this by saying I wouldn't be here without Shelby. I was ready to disappear with this secret forever. I never knew that creators were allowed to talk about these kinds of things, and I guess I'm still new to it all. I just didn't feel brave enough, and I still don't. But her strength made me feel like it may be okay. A little while ago, my story had almost been leaked without me knowing, so here it is on my terms. Here's my story. Last year, at the beginning of summer, I was assaulted by a significantly older and popular content creator. I was freshly 18 and had just graduated high school a few weeks prior. I was drunk in a hotel room with other people around me when it happened. He was someone I had once watched and he was 8 years older than me and far more powerful.
I'm so proud of you and your bravery.
The full story is quite short. It was at a convention in a hotel room. It was my first convention I was invited to, so I stuck by one of my best friends the entire time. I was nervous but excited about it all and felt really grown up. One night we were at a house party when we decided to leave. It was me, my best friend, and her other friend. This other friend was romantically talking to a really big creator at the time. He was also the best friend of my soon-to-be assaulter. She wanted to go back to his hotel room, but didn't want to go alone, so we went with her. I didn't really mind, as I was up for anything. When we got to the hotel room, it was the creator, the girl was talking to, and his best friend. The two of them and the three of us. Not much happened that first night, just some drinking and talking at a table. The guy's friend had been passing flirts at me the entire night, but because he was the oldest in the room, we assumed he didn't know my age. Later that night, when I left, I received Instagram DMs from him, and in my Instagram bio, in bold, was my age, 18, confirming he knew how old I was. A few days passed when I found myself in the same situation. Us three were at a party when it got boring, and whether the girl wanted to leave and go to his room, or he asked us to, I cannot remember. Once again, I was drunker than the night before and was willing to go anywhere. I was naive, and so we went back. I remember a friend seeing me in the lobby on the way. They were worried by the way I was acting and asked if I was okay. I was really drunk, and it was an eerie feeling, like they could sense something was wrong, and I wondered what would have happened if I had picked up on it, and if I wasn't drunk, and if I didn't wave it off. But I don't want to dwell on the what-ifs. That night, I went up to his room. Back at the hotel room again were the two friends and us three girls. At the time, all of us girls were already really drunk from the party we were coming from, stumbling and everything. There was more alcohol in the room, and we were encouraged to drink some more as they offered the bottles to us. They said they would join us in drinking, and insisted on drinking games, and, already drunk, I obviously complied. We sat on the couch and answered questions about each other, drinking a bunch, and the older guy sat right next to me while playing. I confused my nerves for excitement, as I had never been around such a big creator before. I remember getting drunker and drunker and really tired around this time. It was about 3 a.m. Right before the incident, I had answered a question about my age. We were playing a drinking game and talking about sex, and I admitted to everyone in the room that I was 18 and that I was a virgin at the time. I remember back now to him answering questions during the game about back when he was 19 and when he was in college, noticing how my future was his past, and I wondered how he felt sitting so close to me. It was a little after that, when I had resorted to playing games on my phone when it happened. Out of nowhere, I felt him slip his hand under my clothes, sitting next to me on the couch, in front of everyone. He disguised it with a simple, "Are you ticklish?" I coughed out a no, still staring at my phone. I was overly aware of the fact that we were in front of other people, the fact that everyone else was sitting around us, watching us, including my best friend, and that his hand was inching further to places I hadn't asked for it to be. He made a game out of my embarrassment, where he would touch me in certain areas to make me lose the phone game I was playing. I was scared, and I felt sick, either from the alcohol or from his touch. It didn't matter because my mind was a blur. I didn't speak or move. I remember being afraid to even breathe. I stayed there for a while, hoping my stillness could make me disappear. I eventually had to stand up after many minutes for it to stop. I was scared to leave or make a scene out of the embarrassment. Eventually, later in the night, I found myself alone with him and his friend. Everyone else either passed out or sick. I dread the scenarios that could have played out that night, the what ifs. I was just so naive, and lucky or not, the night came to an end with just that. The night lasted until 6 a.m. I was still drunk, either from alcohol or tiredness. I went to leave, and the older guy decided to leave with me. We walked to the elevators, where I didn't get on. He then pretended that the elevator was broken, and that he couldn't leave, telling me to get in the elevator to prove it was broken, and then after a few minutes, he ended the night with a "guess I'm going now," leaving with a wounded puppy look. He proceeded to Instagram message me for a bit after that, simple flirting or asking about the next convention I was going to, saying stuff about seeing me there. Simple messages ultimately filtered into nothing. At the time of it all, I convinced myself I was lucky. I was lucky that that had happened to me. I was excited to be around such big creators, to be at that convention in general. I figured that's just how things were, that was the price I had to pay to be there, that anyone would have loved to be in my position, and that I should have appreciated it. It was a first that night. It was the first time anyone had ever touched me. I assured myself that I was just being sensitive about it all, that it wasn't a big deal, but assuring only can go so far. I felt dirty in a way that I couldn't wash off. I couldn't help the way that my body reacted and flinched. Part of me still wanted to feel cool about it all, to convince myself I was lucky so I didn't have to think about it. I would reimagine the scenario in my head, replaying it again and again, what I could have done, what I could have said instead. But it didn't matter. None of it did, because he never asked, and that fact would never change, no matter how hard I thought about it. I changed after that. I believed life wasn't fair. I was naive, and maybe sometimes to a fault, but I could only wish it lasted longer. I miss not knowing. I used to be kind. I'm angry a lot of the time now at that person, at myself, at the fact that a year later, I can feel my heartbeat stop at the sight of him, and he probably couldn't even make out my face in a crowd. I can't stop thinking about who I was before it all, who I'll never be again, and how some things you can't undo no matter how hard you try. I never said anything out of pure embarrassment. I was embarrassed it happened, and I was afraid to look weak or to show that it hurt me. But I realize now that I don't think being hurt makes you weak. I think it's strong to feel things that have hurt you, and then to still choose to feel nonetheless. I was scared to speak out because I thought it was my fault, and that I didn't deserve to. I was scared of him and all of those who surrounded him. I was scared of his power. I was scared I was mistaken or remembering wrong. I hoped I was remembering wrong. I was scared to go to any more conventions on the chance that I'd see him again. I never thought I'd be strong enough to talk about it, or for what may follow. I'm haunted by him everywhere, in usernames, profile pictures, in my own past. I lost the passion I once had for content, for anything really. The association never went away. All the years I spent creating this community felt like a waste because of one night. I didn't even want to log on to this app. All over something that I never asked for. I can't help but feel angrier all the time, seeing the love I had once had for creation before it happened. I tried to forget it all and ignore it until it resurfaced as a fresh cut. I remember a moment around October where I made a comment about a certain group abusing power over minors in their DMs, saying they had minors in their DMs. It was an absent-minded comment, and I apologized for it, of course. It was a possible subconscious jab out of my own personal resentment. My comments filled with people saying that I didn't care about grooming victims, and that I thought assault was a joke. And I remember sitting there, reading the comments, scrolling over and over again, heart beating faster. Over half of the comments had him as their profile picture. I just wanted to die. I was embarrassed of myself, and I was angry, and I wondered if I could ever find peace. The idea of will I ever heal, it's scary, but I was tired of withholding my story to protect myself. I had spent so long convincing myself it was my fault, or that I was just a coward. I just wanted to disappear, but I didn't, because I realized that this is a problem bigger than me. It may sound dramatic, but it's how I felt for over a year. I feel everything very strongly, and I don't want that to change. It was a big deal to me, and I spent too much time downplaying my own experiences, and I still do. I'm still trying to realize that it's okay. My story is about power and age and consent. It pisses me off that they can hide behind their power while victims are left helpless, no matter what scenario. It pisses me off that he thought he had the right to do what he did, that he did it even in my silence. My biggest fears about speaking out was you guys. I wanted to keep my community safe from what may follow, and also, most importantly, from the ugly truth of life. I promised with you guys to be open and honest all the time. I know, but I didn't want to break up what we had. I wanted to stay strong for you guys. I didn't want this to define me or my community or all we've worked for. I didn't want it to all be overshadowed by one event. But once again, this isn't about me. This isn't about drama. This is about everyone who's watching that is like me. This isn't about canceling. This is about real people's lives. I live this every night and every morning. With every touch I feel, I relive that room. It's about connections. One of my best friends, Rue, and I have bonded over similar experiences. And I'm sure there's many others like us. I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by friends who support me. Without them, I wouldn't be half as strong, and I wouldn't be here saying all this. You don't have to believe me or my story, because I know the truth, and so does he. He knows. And I have creators and friends that also know, and some who were there. This is about realizations. I was once a viewer, and now I'm a creator. I spent so long looking up to creators that I didn't know, who I had never met, aspiring to be a part of a behind the scenes that I didn't understand yet. Sometimes I wish back to when I was unknowingly looking from the outside. I now have a ruined perception, or rather a truthful one. In this community, a lot of us are told to remain silent and to bite our tongues, and those who speak out against it are often isolated. And that's wrong. It's all wrong. But most importantly, this is about my story and the stories of all the other people who have been silenced, whether it's by their own fear, by power, by this idea that it's not significant enough. Because if it's affected you, it's significant enough. This is also about all the asexual people out there who are surrounded by a world where you're wanted for your body. I grew tired of not being able to speak out about my own story, and if it wasn't for Shelby, I would have never realized my silence was bringing me everything except peace. I experienced firsthand what the power of speaking out can do to a person. I hope this can be of some help to those of you who are like me too, because we aren't defined by what has happened to us. I want to remind you all that it's also okay if you don't speak out, because you don't owe anybody anything. It's your story. It's your story to tell, and it's yours to heal from, and it's only yours. Sometimes the most healing treatment in the world is simply realizing that you're not alone in your own experiences. To end, I wanted to share a diary entry I wrote around the time because I feel it was more fresh, and this may help people who it's still fresh for them, or it also just may be clearer to how I was feeling because I wrote it in my diary, obviously. This isn't really poetic. It's not poetic at all, actually. It's quite ugly. Around half a year ago, I was sexually assaulted by someone 8 years older than me. A black and gray striped long sleeve, Nike shorts, a Calvin Klein sports bra. That's what I was wearing. That outfit, it stained on me. They knew that I was freshly 18, and they also knew I was very drunk. I second-guessed myself all the time, remembering back. Was he drunk too when he slipped his hand under my shirt in front of everyone in the room? Was it this drunkenness that whispered to me as an unwelcomed warmth that prickled along my neck? Or was it rather this fake intoxication that allowed it to stay there as I sat silently, unmoving? At the beginning, I began to sympathize with him. I technically never said no, I suppose. But I never said yes. Time froze. Maybe I thought I could turn invisible if I was still. Maybe. It didn't have to be real then. I had just met him. I should have been more grateful. Maybe I still had some hope in the world. Maybe I just haven't met the world yet. You're lucky to be next to him. So many people would have traded me places. I wonder how many have. I remembered his age. I wondered where I would be at 26. I blamed myself for all the things I could have done. I really did. I convinced myself I was lucky. I let half a year pass, wondering why it's now that I still cry myself to sleep imagining it. Why it's now that no matter how many times I wash, I still feel dirty. Why is it that to him I'm a faint memory, but he haunts mine? It's not fair. I was kind in this world, and it was not fair to me. I stay up cursing it. Power. He has so much more than me. Protection. It's unfair. It's unfair he can do that, and it's unsafe for me to talk about it. Why, in order to have a peace of mind, do I have to threaten all I've worked for? I've never been one to be bold, so why do I have to feel guilty for staying silent? I feel weak for what happened to me, and even weaker for not yelling it out, from hiding from it. I don't want attention. I want to disappear. I wish I never had to be seen again. And as soon as I do speak out of it, I'm seen different. Speak out about it, I'm seen different. I'm seen as a person with a body that can be used and used in bad ways. In reality, I never wanted it. I'm painted a victim of a crime that I never chose. And what happens when it's all I'm seen as? What do I do then? When half echo on about proof or disbelief, the other half will pity me, looking at me like I'm wounded prey. When do I get my dignity back? When I watched it be ripped from me when I was too young to recognize it. What? Oh God. I don't want to be the brave one, but I will. What are consequences to someone who has no conscience? I'll never find the peace. I can't get it out of my head. Will I learn to live with the pain I faced? How does one accept peace on their own terms? Is one defined by what's been done to them? Is this a forgiving world? Because I hope it's not. I hope for every touch unasked for and every person belonging to that touch rots in this world unforgiven. I'm very angry and I don't want to be an angry person. I can't help but feel like it changed me and I had no control over it, and I get angry again and I try to be kind and believe in a kind world, but a lot of it feels cruel. My kindness never brought me strength. Not now. Not even anger can. I'm always losing and I don't find it fair. How something can eat away at me this long. Why can I forget everything but that moment, no matter how hard I try? I get mad at myself for making a big deal about it, but it was. I guess I can't change how things affect me. And I wonder why. I wonder why every touch is a bad one. I wonder if the world's so kind, why can't I experience its kindness? I wonder if I'll experience anything soft like that. I'm embarrassed. I'm tired. That's it. Which it was a lot of what I already said, but at least in that moment it was more fresh. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what I'm gonna do after this. I didn't really think it through that much, but I knew it was important. Again, this isn't about drama or about any of that. It's about a real story. It's about everyone like me who was silenced, who is still silenced. I love you guys. I hope you guys stay safe. I hope nothing bad happens to you guys. I might be gone for a little bit, but I don't want this to stop me, because it's just something that happened to me. That's it. And yeah. I love you guys. I think I'm gonna go. I really hope this can help someone. That's all I care about. I want you guys to know it's okay to hurt. And I hope, even if you've been hurt in your past, and no matter how many times you hurt, you still find room in your heart to love. And I hope you experience love. Because you deserve it. Okay. I'm gonna end now. I really want to thank my mods for helping me during the stream. I hope you guys stay well too.